The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network. You're listening to The Round Table. For the next 2 hours, we'll talk local high school sports with the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith.
Pitches to Grady Keaton working against Orr. Takes him to the basket, lays it in. One! There we go! And he was fouled by Orr.
The voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton.
Outside,
There you go.
deflected.
There you go.
Lloyd, the long jumper is no good, and the Highlanders pick up the win.
Produced by the IH Sports Network, The Round Table begins now.
Good Thursday evening, everybody, and welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network as we begin the second half of our second season of the Roundtable, the post-Christmas issues of the Roundtable, if you will. We're live from the C. Michael A. Technology Center in Hellenwood. I'm Ben Garrett. I've got the voice of the Indians, Tim Smith, to my left. I have the voice of the Highlanders, Rick Keaton, to my right. And, guys, let's start off by just kind of getting everybody caught up where we're at. And it's interesting, both teams, as it's worked out, coming off a huge, huge district win. Tim, we'll start with you and the Indians Friday night, Gatlinburg-Pittman. What a win against a team that had really handled them well the first time around, but there's something about that home court at Oneida. There's some mystique there. It's a tough place to play, and they got them second time around.
Yeah, so on the boys' side, definitely a big win.
The boys, yes,
yeah,
yes.
Against the Gatlinburg-Pittman team. I mean, I don't know that I can recall from any of the watching or the stories that I've heard of a time when a team beat a team by 41 or beat an Oneida team by 41 and 3 weeks later, the Indians beat them. And I think Gatlinburg was having trouble believing that it was a reality. I mean, this was a Gatlinburg boys team that they weren't they were at full capacity. The Gatlinburg girls weren't, and they still cruised pretty well. But the Gatlinburg boys, they had everybody. And I do think it's hard for a coach to convince a team, hey, just because you beat them by 41 last time, it's going to be different this time. It's hard to get through to high school kids that could really be the possibility. So I think there's some leeway for part of that. But you know, the thing that really hurt Gatlinburg that night was that, and also they shot, I think, 2 of 13 from the free throw line. They really left a lot of points on the floor at the free throw line, and, you know, the longer – it's one of those stories, the longer you leave a team in the game, the more they believe. And we're going to have Gavin and Mason on here later. And, you know, Mason was our player of the game. Grady was the Hustle Award of the game. I went back and I don't usually go back and watch the games much, but this was a pretty big game. I went back and watched it, and I just feel like probably we shortchanged Gavin. I don't know that he has had the impact in a high school game that he had that night against Gatlinburg. The timely steals, the timely three-point shooting when Gatlinburg was trying to make their run. More and more as I watch that, I have a great respect for what Gavin did that night. And so I'm glad I got a chance to go back and review that and say that, because when you're in the moment, you're just enjoying the fact that the Indians are getting that win. So I think it opened up a lot of possibilities. I think it made Tuesday night not getting to go to Austin East and see, hey, can we build on this? You know, I think it was really disappointing for the team, for the coaches, for the fans to not be able to see, are we going to be able to build on this? Because that's a tough place to go, another tough crowd, but they were excited about the opportunity. You're still going to have that opportunity. Now you got to wait longer for it, and there's some things to take care of in between. But now I'll say real quickly on the girls' side, I do think the Oneida girls played a much better game than they played at Gatlinburg. And we talked about it in the postgame with Coach West, and he agreed. You know, they got tougher. They were better at making decisions, and they're still a work in progress. But I am just blown away by the talent and the precision with which the Gatlinburg Lady Highlanders play basketball and the high level they play at. And they were without a Miss Basketball candidate from last year. Now, they had gained Ty Glasper's sister. She was on the court for the first time. She wasn't there when we played the first time. So the next time we face them, probably both of them are going to be on the court. And I know a week from tomorrow, falls out as scheduled, Gatlinburg and Alcoa will square off for the first time this year. So I'm sure Gatlinburg wants to be at full strength for that. And if all holds, we'll see Alcoa on Tuesday night. So it's exciting. It's I think the main takeaway I have from what's occurred so far is these teams are really good with some really good individual players and really good coaches, and we're finding a way to go out there and try to go toe-to-toe with them for the length that we can. And I think the Lady Indians did that in their game against Gatlinburg. They got better, and I think the boys definitely got better, and I think they're excited about seeing how far can we take this, what can we do here, kind of playing with house money.
My takeaway from the Lady Indians, they've played Gatlinburg twice, the only district games that they've played, and both games have been lopsided. I think that might be lulling some other teams in this district to sleep because they've got that monster out of the way. Gatlinburg, to me, is far and away the best team, and I mean no disrespect to Alcoa, but I think Gatlinburg's the best team in the district. Oneida's still going to create some noise, I think, down the road. And as you said, they're continuing to grow up, continuing to get better. They're just going to continue to get better. On the boys' side, we've heard so much, for good reason. They're fantastic players. We've heard so much about Javin Carter from Alcoa. He's the defending Mr. Basketball winner. Shane Cherry from Austin East. And then Ty Glasper from Gatlinburg. Right. Obviously, we talk a lot about Mason Keaton around here. You step into the Knoxville market and Knoxville area, you don't hear as much about Mason. I'm going to ask Mason a little bit later if he wears that as a chip on his shoulder, if he uses it for motivation. But to me, that game Tuesday night or Friday night against Gatlinburg, that was an opportunity to show the rest of this district, the rest of East Tennessee, that, hey, there are 4 really good guards in this district. Yeah. And he, to me, Glasper was great in that game. Mason just a little bit better.
In that game.
In that game. There will be more opportunities.
That's right.
Oh, man. It's next week, by the way.
One game at a time.
That's right.
Pigeon Forge tomorrow night, hopefully. And then next week, Tuesday night, Alcoa. Thursday night, if all goes well, Austin East. How much fun is that going to be?
Well, I hope it's fun. It's got an opportunity to be fun and to continue to show improvement. And it's I just like to use the word opportunity. It's an exciting opportunity for these teams that they're beginning to seize control of. There's 13 games left. Yep. And seniors on these teams, 13 games left, and it's going to go quick. So it's a fun time of year.
And Rick, we'll switch to Scott High Tuesday night at Clinton. A big win for the Highlanders. The girls came up a little short after really playing a good game, and Gatlinburg or Clinton just kind of pulled away at the end. Let's start by talking about the boys because that was such a huge win for Scott High on Tuesday night at Clinton. And I know you're not going to throw me under the bus, so I'll just tell everybody what I said as I'm sitting there and I'm watching Clinton before they came out and warm up, and I said it. I said they're getting ready to eat our lunch, and you told me. Not so fast, my friend. Now, you didn't use those words exactly. Those are Lee Corso's words. But you were not as convinced as I was, and you were right, and I was wrong, and I was happy to be wrong.
Well, it's a tough place to go. I feel that our team considers that the rival now.
Absolutely.
Used to be Kingston, but now you've got Clinton in a gym that I sort of like the gym. I like the Donnie Dome very well. I like the court layout down there. But we don't play real well there sometimes. And I can't put my finger on the cause. I told you the other night I think the cause is the standards, and we play on very few gyms that use standards. You'll get into some of those like at Pigeon Forge and places like that where they use standards, and it's just hard to get used to those because there's nothing hanging down. It's all sticking out on the arm like that. And I just felt that we could go in there and put enough things together, do enough things right, especially coming off of Friday night's 17 three-pointers in that game, that if we could go in there, and as you like to say, shoot the lights out, that we could go in there, make a few shots, play good defense, not let Clinton get big runs on us. I felt we had a chance in that game. Well, we were the better team in the first 3 quarters for sure. Went into a little bit of a lull, events that happened on the floor and stuff like that got us into a lull in the fourth quarter. Thankfully for a couple of things. We didn't pick up fouls in the fourth quarter, so in the last, 20 seconds, we could give some fouls there like that to help take time off the clock. Coach Aiden conserved the timeouts. He was able to use those judiciously in the last part of the game right there. If Clinton was making a little bit of a run, let's get the ball, let's take a timeout. Let's talk about the turnovers. And that was a big thing in the fourth quarter. We made a lot of unforced errors in the fourth quarter, and that allowed Clinton to work in, work back, get there, and then we had to figure out a way to get back on top again. And the team held their heads up. They didn't go into a shell. They said, we'll match you point for point. And, hey, kudos to the entire team, the 5 that was on the floor at the end of the game and the 6 or 7 that played throughout the course of the game. It's a tough place to go play. I cannot say enough about what a solid effort that is. Now, can we duplicate that? We've got some other games coming up. We'll talk about that, I guess, probably later. But we've got some other games coming up in the region. We've got 10 games remaining. 8 of those are region games. For counting this week, that's 4 straight weeks with 2 region games, and there's no break in the region. I don't see that on the girls' side, and I don't see that on the boys' side. It's you better lace them up and come out and play. You better be prepared to protect the basketball, value your possessions. You better be retaining and not committing a lot of fouls, but go out and look for your best opportunity to score, your best opportunity to keep the other team from scoring. And I think both teams have that possibility in these last 8 district games. Just 7 district games now, but to go out and do that and do a tremendous job and be looking at a 1 or 2 seed in District 4.
It's wide open. When Tim has talked about the district on Oneida's side, District 2, 2A, it's wide open. District 4, 3A, same thing. Right now you got the standings in front of you. Anderson County, they're the clear leader. They're the only unbeaten on the boys' side.
On the boys.
Then you got Scott High and Gibbs. Those are the 2 one-loss teams left, and they'll play Tuesday night, hopefully, if the weather cooperates. Mm-hmm. Right now it's about keeping pace with them, and tomorrow night, Union County, their record probably belies a little bit how good they are. They're 1-2, but a good Union County team tomorrow night coming into Huntsville.
It is. Well, they've played 2 games already this week. They've averaged 91.5 points in those 2 games, 83 points on Monday night, 100 points on Tuesday night, I think, over Hancock County. So I looked today and I thought, have they been scoring like that? They haven't. But they put together some 80-point games out there, and they're quite well capable of doing that if you do not want to come out. And we think Coach Yaden will play a lot of man-to-man. He may be forced to go to zone, but you've got to be able to stop him, slow him down, and not just give him shot after shot after shot opportunity.
Probably going to take 70-plus tomorrow night, I would think.
And I'll tell you something else that I looked at today. In Region 2, this just for the boys, but in Region 2, you combine, I guess, 10 or 12 teams in Region 2. That's out of District 3
and 4. Yeah.
3 and 4. What you're looking at is the Highlanders had the second most wins in Region 2, only behind Fulton.
Fulton's pretty good.
Fulton's pretty good.
Yeah,
Fulton's pretty good. But
so
I looked at it and I thought, hey, this is not bad. But don't rest. Those guys are sitting back there. Don't rest on your 1-loss record. Go out and play basketball.
We would love to see Fulton in late February, early March, as long as it's not a 1-versus-4 game. Unless they're the 4, we'd take that.
Opposite sides of the bracket is where we want to be. They'll be a 1 in all likelihood, and I'd like for us to be a 2.
Yeah, or a 1.
Or a 1. Yeah.
But you want to be on the opposite side of the bracket.
Right.
Real quickly before we go to break, Scott Lady Highlanders, we talked to Coach Jake Wright after that game over at Clinton. That was a 2-point game, if memory serves me right, 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Clinton had just dominated against their district foes to that point. Mm-hmm. And they did. They took control of the game the rest of the way. But at that point, I think Scott High, the takeaway from that is these girls can play with those girls, and the next time you get them, the next 2 times you get them, if you get them a second time, it's going to be played here instead of there.
Exactly. And you hope that you come that we gain experience. That's the big thing right now, gaining a little extra experience game after game after game, being able to step up to that. Clinton, I think, is in the girls' side, I think they're the best team in the district.
I
say that for a lot of reasons. Obviously, they got starters, but they've got this height advantage and they've got this length advantage. I mean, they go like this with their arms out like that, and it looks like they got a 10-foot wingspan, a couple of them. And that's sort of hard to overcome. But I really think that our girls can be prepared the next time we play them. It seems like it's only in another week and a half, 2 weeks. And we've got to be prepared to weather the storm there. But if we can get them on, as you like to say, the goals that Scott High, our shots might drop in a little bit better for us.
Maybe so. All right, we're going to take our first break in the night. We got a lot of Scott High players here with us. They don't look very happy. They got the call just as we were going on the air. No school tomorrow. They should be looking happier than this. We're going to talk to two of the Lady Highlander seniors when we come back. We'll be joined by Melanie Spradlin and Zoe Price right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. He's Rick Keaton. He's Tim Smith. I'm Ben Garrett. This is Melanie Spradlin. This is Zoe Price, two of the Lady Highlander seniors. And, guys, it's funny how this works out. I'm going to start over here with Melanie, and I'll let Rick do the bulk of the question asking here. But, Melanie, I want to talk about last Thursday night, 1 week ago tonight, against the Knox Ambassadors. You scored what I thought was your first point as a senior, and my daughter tells me that was your first point in your high school career. So talk about that.
Being back after, knee surgery.
Right.
It's a big deal. So, yeah.
How excited were you to get that opportunity?
It was great just being back.
Yeah. So, and you had a three-point shot, almost went down, and it didn't. But then you got fouled on another three-point try, and you got the 3 free throws, clock's running, and so time's going to run out, and so that's it. Were you confident when you stepped to the line that you were going to knock down those shots?
Yeah, I was very confident, but then they didn't fall, so.
Well, one did.
Yeah,
one did. Yeah,
yeah.
so you got that first point. You got the monkey off your back, and next time you'll be ready to knock them down.
Yeah.
And Zoe, flip over here to you real quick. And like I said, it's funny how this works out. We decided that you two were going to be the first seniors on, and then I thought we were going to talk about you scored 6 points against the Ambassadors, and I think that's a career high for you.
Yeah.
Then you come back on Tuesday night. You were our Trophy Masters Hustle Award winner, and I got to say that's the best basketball that I've seen you play at Scott High. So how did you get to that point? Tuesday night, you don't always get in the game with the game on the line. Tuesday, you got a lot of minutes with the game on the line. Were you ready?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you were ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday on practice, well, with the stuff that happened with Shaylin, Coach Wright told me, hey, you're going to have to make up for her minutes because she's obviously not going to be able to play. So I was just ready for my opportunity, to just go out there, especially playing Clinton. That's always a big game. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, to use an expression, she was a road runner in the first half the other night, end to end, quite a few times. Let's talk about your injury and what you've gone through in the rehab to come back from that, Melanie. I mean that's tough. I've never had that injury, but tell me what you've done to get through that.
A lot of physical therapy and slowly getting back to practice and then just working hard at it.
Where do you place yourself, 80%, 90%, 100%?
I'd say about at 95.
About 95%. So you're really getting there. And it's not fair for me to ask this question, but are you apprehensive when you walk on the court if another player gets around you too close, or you think, oh, stay away from my leg?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Does that bode well for the team? You're looking at what was 2 overtime losses and then the loss the other night at Clinton. Talk about the spirit of the team, the mood of the team. It's tough after a loss, but you've had the 2 overtime losses, and those are devastating to me. If I'm the player out there, that's as devastating to me as the announcer sometimes when I do those, because I see so much practice and effort go into that. What's the mood of the team right now?
I think we're pretty positive right now.
How much you've had a couple of days to practice, so how hard have the practices been leading up to tomorrow night's Union County game?
We've been practicing pretty hard, getting ready for the game.
Who has helped you the most? And it can be a coach, of course, but who's helped you the most as a teammate, going through the rehab, getting back, getting ready to play, and as a supporter for you on the team?
Probably my mom, Zoe, Gracie, Rachel, all the seniors.
All the seniors?
And Coach Wright.
And Coach Wright. Well, that's good that he's in there helping you there like that. How do you want to approach the rest of the season? You've got the playing time now. You've been the cheerleader on the bench. How do you prepare and approach the rest of the season?
I just play it like it's my last.
Okay, well, that's a good answer. Zoe, you watched your sister. Matter of fact,
she's better than her sister ever was.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but you watched your sister, and I looked down on the court.
Sorry, Riley.
And I think my first thought is they got to be twins. I mean, the mannerisms, the height and the arms and stuff like that. What's it like now finally reaching that senior moment and being able to be one of the seniors, helping prepare the team night after night?
Well, it is different. I've always been around Riley. We've always played the same sports. We've always been together. So this is the first year without her, and being a senior, there's big responsibilities that come with that, being a leader, helping your team through everything, not even just basketball, just with everything else outside of basketball, just being there, trying to be a good person.
As you walk down the halls of the school every day, what's the mood in the school, the support for the Lady Highlanders and the Highlanders too? What do you feel from the students at school? Are they really getting ready to go down this stretch run and support our teams?
Yeah, I think they are. I feel like a lot of students look up to the athletes at the school, mostly basketball, because I'm not trying to talk bad about other sports teams, but basketball has like a better mentality about, the games, and we always are kind of positive, and, we're always seem like we want to be there. Even if we don't, we always, try to act like we want to be there and are happy to be there, happy to have a game, no matter who we're playing. We're not technically scared of who we're playing. We're always act like we're ready for anybody to walk in our gym or for us to go and walk in their gym. So
I want to ask both of you this question. And while we're over there, Zoe, we'll let you answer first, then come back to Melanie. You've got 28 players on the team, 30. I can't count them on all my digits, to be honest with you. But what's it like having, this is by far the largest number I can remember, even beats the football team some years. But what's it like being there and having so many sisters on the basketball team?
it was something different that we had to, work with, because we're not used to having that many people either. So, like, practice is a little different because there's so many, and we all can't do the same thing at once because there's not enough room in the gym, especially for 28 players. Mm-hmm. So we always are usually split up, but we're usually doing the same thing, just half court. So, it's different, but I wouldn't trade any of them for anything. So.
How about you, Melanie, having all these teammates?
I love it personally because it's a lot of support,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love it.
Tell me the makeup of the team. I know we got seniors. We don't have a lot of juniors, right? And then we're down to sophomores and a whole bunch of freshmen. Yeah. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like our boys' team. I mean, we skipped a generation in there, seemed like, for it should be juniors. As we go through the rest of our games, what do you want the team to accomplish? I don't say, hey, we'll win all our games, but if you say win all our games, tell me how we're going to win all those games.
Just supporting each other. Our main goal is go day by day and hopefully go to state.
Do we have anybody that's hurt or injured leading up to tomorrow night?
Other than Shaylin.
Other than Shaylin, okay. And I'm assuming she still will not be cleared to play.
Probably not.
Okay. Zoe, what do you look forward to the rest of the year?
I look forward to the district tournament because I feel like we have a good chance this year. I mean, we are deeper than the other teams, so we can wear on other teams, quick, and because we like to play fast. Most of the teams we play like to sit in a zone, but we like to play man, and I feel like that also wears on other teams. So I'm excited for the district tournament, especially for it being at Scott High this year. So
that was my next question. It's so rare that we get to have, and no, not do, so rare we get to have a district tournament at our home school. So what do you think about it, Melanie? And then Zoe, I'll start with Melanie. What do you think about being able to stay home and watch the district tournament right there?
I think it's a good opportunity to show everyone what we're made of.
There you go. Zoe?
Yeah, like she said, it is a good opportunity to show people. And I feel like we always have good fans. They travel good too. But I feel like being at home, we're going to pack the gym out, and I feel like the other teams aren't ready for not only us, but the fans that are going to be packed in that gym. I mean, they bought extra bleachers for people to sit on, but I still feel like there's still going to be a bunch of people standing on the walls like usual. So.
Well, there won't be room. Once those bleachers are done, there won't be room, so they'll have to stand 3 deep out in the hallway, I guess, on that. But it is a unique opportunity to play the district tournament at home, and I'm glad y'all are going to have that experience. It only happens, well, if we should stay in the same district that we're in now, it's only going to happen once every 6 years. But nevertheless, it's a wonderful opportunity that nobody else on your team's had, and nobody for several years before you has had that opportunity to do that, just to play it on. What do you want to say to our fans? Because we had more people on the road the other night at Clinton than they had on their side of the gym there. What do you want to say to our fans about supporting Highlander athletics, basketball, girls and boys?
I'm just glad they support us.
Okay. And you want to invite them out and fill up the house tomorrow night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Zoe?
Yeah, I'm thankful for them because, sometimes we feed off the fans because they're always into the games, no matter if it's a good game or a bad game. They're always cheering us on, and, we talk about that. We're like, we have to play good, not only for us, but for the people that travel with us, because Coach Rat says this all the time. We have the best fan base because they literally go everywhere that we do. When we went to Saudi Daisy, we had more people than everybody else, and that's 2 hours away. So if they're willing to travel that, then, we're very thankful for that because we love our fans.
I'm going to take Ben off the hook here just a second.
I'll put myself back on, no doubt.
Is there? Well, yeah, you'll come back to this. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble once again. Anybody, including Riley, anybody on the team that you want to throw a friendly under the bus comment at? Okay. Boy, you're Melanie. You're going to get the award as the nicest senior at Scott High this year. I'm pretty sure.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anybody you want to throw shade at?
Better not.
Okay. Well, polite young ladies, aren't they?
So during the fall, I asked everybody to do impressions of their coaches. We're not going to do that this because nobody took me up on it, for good reason probably. I'm going to get back to you talked about fan support, and I'm going to ask you about that real quickly. But first, I'm going to start with you, Melanie. I want to know Rick asked who has supported you the most on the team. I want to know two questions, and the first one is, who is on your team is most likely, if you do something wrong, whether it be in practice, a game, or whatever, who is most likely to get on your case and say you need to fix that?
Gracie Lewis.
Gracie Lewis.
Yeah, probably Gracie, and Brittany does it too, and Connor and Carly are the same way. It's kind of just anybody, it's just who's in that mood that day.
Okay, so I asked that because I wanted to ask, and that's more polite than saying who's the most hateful person on your team, because Rachel Garrett might be the answer to that. I don't know how hateful she is when she comes home from practice sometimes. Who's the nicest teammate you've got?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Really? Okay.
Well, name 4 or 5 of them then. I mean, you don't have to.
Probably Hope Duncan,
Duncan.
Zoe, Carly, Connor.
Zoe, how about it?
Those people she said, but we also have Praley or Smiley, either one. We call her both. Shaylee. Most of the freshmen are pretty nice, I don't know if they're scared or what, but they're pretty nice too. So
I would say, and I told Rachel this. I said the nicest teammates that you got. One, Melanie. I'm sorry. I don't. You're a nice teammate too. Zoe's one of my favorites because she likes all the IH Sports Network social media posts. So she's got a top spot because of that. And Connor Hudson, who just happens to be here. And neither one of you guys. Oh, you did. You named Connor, didn't you? Yeah. So
are we supposed to like your post, by the way?
You're supposed to, yeah, but I'm used to it. Tim doesn't either.
Thanks, Tim.
But in Melanie's defense and the rest of these guys, you got a bunch of well-behaved girls on this team, and it seems like y'all really get along, really enjoy each other's company. So, all right, I'm sorry, we've gone overboard. I've asked more questions than Rick, but we talked about fan support, so real quickly, because we talked about this Tuesday night. I get in trouble sometimes, but I just say what I'm thinking, okay? Earlier this season, I put a post up on Instagram, speaking of social media, talking about how Oneida has one of the best student sections around. Tim Smith sees that student section night in and night out. He can attest to how good they are up there. I got in trouble because some of these guys down here, man, they didn't like that too much. And what I said Tuesday night was, here's their opportunity to prove me wrong, and I will be the first to admit that I was wrong. Last Friday night, the student section was slim pickings, okay? They filled the front row, and that was it. Tomorrow night, pink out, new bleachers to fill up. What is a message to the students to get out? It's a huge game tomorrow night. What do you say to your student section to get out tomorrow night?
to be honest, I don't know. Sometimes they like to show up and sometimes they don't.
show up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, no school tomorrow, so you're not going to be tired. You can sleep till like 1 o'clock. I know you kids do. No school the next day. Melanie, you got anything to say tomorrow to
We don't
the
have no
students?
school, so be there.
Yeah, be there.
Be there.
Be loud. All right. Guys, Zoe Price, Melanie Spradlin, thank you all for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Oneida seniors Mason Keaton and Gavin Keaton right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Alongside Tim Smith, Rick Keaton, I'm Ben Garrett, and we switch to Oneida now as we're joined by seniors Mason Keaton and Gavin Keaton. And guys, before I let Tim take this away, I always got to get my questions in first because we don't talk about what we're going to ask. And, you know, Tim might ask the same things I do, so I steal his thunder instead of vice versa. Gavin, I'm going to start with you real quick. Okay. You are I feel like if there's one player on this year's team who maybe is overlooked, it's probably Gavin Keaton. You've never been a loud guy. You're kind of quiet, off the court anyway. On the court, you're the same way. You're just quiet and you go about your business. Don't score a whole lot of points compared to your cousin Mason or his brother, your other cousin Grady. But you get your share and certainly get your share of rebounds. But talk about your role on the team.
I mostly try to be the guy that does the little things. Make sure I play good defense, get rebounds when I can get rebounds, get my hand on balls that I can, force turnovers from that. I just try and do all the little things for the team to be successful. I'm not really focused on myself being successful, just the team.
And Mason, I told Tim Smith at the opening I was going to ask you this. You probably were not watching, so you're not prepared for this. But I felt like Friday night, we could go tomorrow night against Gatlinburg Pittman. You all played Ty Glasper, your counterpart from Gatlinburg Pittman. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm just saying you did. Obviously, your team got the win. I hear so much about Ty Glasper and Shane Cherry and Javon Carter. Maybe I bust. Yeah. So anyway, and for a good reason. They're great players, but you're right there in that mix too. So I want to know, because you don't always hear your name mixed in with those guys. Do you use that as motivation, or you don't care and you just go about your business?
Well, first of all, I actually played with Ty Glasper through, me and Gavin did, through middle school and stuff. Great kid. I love him. I love playing against him. He's a competitor. He's a great player. I mean, you guys seen that. He's a really good player. He's a great competitor. I don't say I use that as motivation. I just come out and play my game, and sometimes that game is I'm not going to score every time down the floor. Sometimes that's Grady because they're going to send three guys at me. Sometimes it's looking for Gavin on the three because he's hot that night. I mean, I'm not going to come out and try to beat somebody on the other team. I'm just there to make my team better, kind of like Gavin said. So, I mean, I ain't there to outscore Ty Glasper or Javon Carter or whoever on any given night. I'm just there to win, and if I win, I'm happy. I don't care if I finish with 2, 20, or 300 points. It just really don't matter.
I've got another question that I'm curious about, but I'll ask that later because if I take any more Tim's time, he's going to kick me out of the table. So.
No, I'm fine. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We'll come back to it.
He's saving for the end. Okay. All right. So, and again, I doubt if you guys got to see the beginning of it, but I kind of issued an apology after going back and watching the game. Mason got player of the game. Grady got hustle of the game. And then I go back and watch the game, which I don't do often, and Mason backed me up on this. Gavin, when we had to have the ball back from them, when we had to have a three, he was there to answer at every point.
He was.
And I feel like that I dropped the ball, even though it's really Mark and the other guys. But I mean, I wanted to recognize that here tonight because if you go back and watch that game, you did the little things, like just exactly what you said. That's not just words you say that you don't care what happens. You just want to contribute. Yeah. It showed in the way you played that night. What about the fact that it's going to take stuff like that night after night now? I mean, a year ago, you guys have to do this against Oliver Springs. You have to do this against Harriman, and then, there's some nights when you can just do whatever.
Yeah.
It's every night now, including tomorrow night, weather permitting, Pigeon Forge. I mean, what has that been like? What kind of mentality change, Gavin, have you had to have going into this?
Going into a really tough district, we've had to adjust our mentality big time. It starts with practice. You really got to amp your energy up in practice because, they always say you're going to practice like you play, and it had to start there. So we've really had to amp that up. We've had to change our mindset going into games. When you come in, I'm not throwing shade, but when you go play Wartburg, you're not going to have the same mentality going and playing Gatlinburg Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
You got to approach every game like it's Alcoa, GP, anybody in our district. That's the mentality that I've had to switch to. Just going out, putting everything out on the line every single night.
So, Mason, here's my question, because we didn't cover the Campbell County game, right? So the last game we did before Christmas, we did the Gatlinburg game, 41-point loss. We covered that. We remember that. And then on that Tuesday night, now I didn't go, but I did watch the colorful Campbell County work on that game that night. I'm talking about the announcers, not you guys, okay? But Josh Parker, he's a good guy, but he's very pro Campbell County. But that night, watching that game, and we lost the lead, double-digit lead, fell in that game. I just want to know, and maybe this is an easy answer, maybe it's not, but how in the world do you even come into the gym last Friday night and think we're going to have a chance to beat Gatlinburg-Pittman after they beat you by 41, and then this happens at Campbell County? You guys did it, but how?
Well, this summer when we played, we kind of played with a greater speed. We kind of focused on not playing single-A schools. We kind of played that. It's a vast difference. We went and played in Oakdale, and then we went and played Eagleton, which is kind of in the bottom part of our district, and you could tell, just the speed, the physicality. So when we went and played Eagleton, then Gatlinburg-Pittman, it was night and day difference when we walked up there in Gatlinburg-Pittman. And honestly, I'm surprised they didn't slap us in the face more than what they did, because it was just like, oh my gosh, you're shell-shocked. And when we played them in the first quarter, we played them somewhat even. In the third quarter, I think we may have had a 1-point deficit in just that quarter of scoring, and then they just ran away with it in the fourth quarter. But when we went back and watched that film, we knew we could play with them. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of just getting used to it, just kind of getting used to that play speed. Not really. It's just completely different. But when we went over Christmas break, we played William Blount and Carter, and William Blount slapped us. But that's okay, because they're a really, really good team. Mm-hmm. But that was another change that we had to get used to. So we kind of got used to the change of the speed of the game and stuff. Carter was a good game for us. And then we came back to Campbell County. We had that game on lock, and we just, you can't win them all. And that was honestly a game that I think we needed to be humbled down, pushed down, and know that we've got to do, like Gavin said, the little things to win these games. We let some little things slip, like our rebounding margin was terrible that game, and that basically lost us the game. But when we went back and looked at that game and knew what we'd done wrong, I think the team kind of got closer together and realized that it just can't be 1-2 guys doing everything. Even the 1 or 2 guys like me that score all the points, I've got to do the little things too. I can't let those things slip. So, we put all that together, and I think that just kind of helped us bond together and put that game together all in one. So,
all right. Now, Gavin, how disappointing coming off of that win. You guys had to be just ready to go out, just itching for this opportunity on the road in Knoxville Tuesday night, and then didn't get to play. How disappointing was that?
It was kind of disappointing. We had a good practice Monday. Everybody was high energy. Everybody was happy, But, we did win, but we had to move on. Mm-hmm. We still got games to play, district games to play. We were ready. We were ready to play Austin East. We had a game plan. We were ready to take on the Cherries and stuff like that. But we'll just have to get ready for next week, play them next week. We got a big week next week, 4 games, I think. But
sounds like
survive in advance.
So, but a chance to just to prove, hey, that wasn't just a fluke Friday night, because you were going to play another really good team. Yeah. No offense. Pigeon Forge is going to be at their place, and they're going to bring their best, right?
Yeah. Everybody in this district, if you don't bring it, they have every opportunity to beat your brains in. Yeah. They're a bigger school than us. They got athletes, so we got to bring it too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to moving along in the district games and seeing how we do, because we're on the map now. We beat GP, the rankings are out there. They're number 2 in the rankings, but we're on the map now.
So we've talked about points, but to me, one of the differences, and it did start against Campbell County that I observed on that Tuesday night, and it was defensively, and it was Landon Lindbergh getting a start and being able to throw him out there to just aggravate the tar out of whether it's Glasper or Cherry, or I don't know if he's going to get the call against Carter, because that's a different animal. But just having him go out there and set that tone, and then you come in if he gets in foul trouble, and then Caden's there ready to try to give him the defensive business too. I mean, to me, defensively, that's as big a story as anything else that happened in that game.
Absolutely.
How has that developed, and did you expect this? Because we didn't see that from Landon so much back before Christmas, but I mean, wow, it's been a revelation now.
I mean, we've all played together for a very long time, and we've always known Landon to be. I mean, you saw him on the football field; he's great on his feet. I mean, he comes and guards me every day in practice, and it's rough. I mean, he's a very good defender now. I mean, that's hard. I mean, I think it's hard to not get much playing time on the season and then get a start and then come out and bring that much energy on defense. And I mean, he had some very good offensive plays in that Campbell County game too. So I mean,
he did.
I mean,
You're exactly right.
I'm proud of him, to say the least. I mean, he guarded one of the best kids in our district. I mean, Carter's good, but now Glasper is really good off the dribble. I mean, it was very hard for me to guard him, and I was like, man, he is keeping up with him foot for foot. So I mean, I'm just proud of him. I mean, I can't say anything else.
And that's kind of like scoring points because he keeps you from getting too winded, so then you can put up more points.
Yeah. It's a lifesaver, to say the least. Yeah.
Just before Ben gets to his most important question, I want to ask you both just real quick, your coaches going into this year. How is Coach King? I'm going to ask you first. How's Coach King approached this year? Have you seen the difference from the beginning as getting ready for this year? He knew it was going to be different. What's he done differently?
Yeah, he's like I said, he's brought a lot more energy to practices. Really focused on the little things. How to get open off the ball, how to get the open shot, shoot it when you can, because you don't know how open you're going to be. I mean, he's brought about the same mentality that I was talking about to the coaching.
What about assistant coaches? You got a new assistant coach this year. Describe Zach Kazee. I mean, it's his first year. I would think a coach will be a little bit timid in their first year. What's a few words to describe Zach in his first year helping coaching?
I really enjoy him. He's kind of closer to our age, and he also played for Coach King, so he kind of understands a lot of the stuff that we talk about and just kind of go through. He's really helped us with shooting. I mean, he was a great shooter when he was in high school. So we've just kind of done drills with him during practice, after practice. Maybe if we just want to come in on a weekend, he'll open up the gym for us. He's broke down a lot of film for us. So, I mean, I think he's been a bonus. He's really helped us out and just kind of helped the connection there, too, with coaches and players. So, yeah.
All right. And then, of course, Coach Pike, Coach Slavin, they do their thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys. What a thrill last Thursday night was. And, we're going to have ups and downs. This whole regular season, it's practice.
Yeah.
It's just getting ready
for
February. I mean, that's just the truth, but what a great practice that one was, and hopefully have some more good ones. Ben, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to say you talked about the Hustle Award winner, and you asked Mason to back you up when you were talking about that. You didn't say, Ben, back me up. I got your back, Gavin.
I did not.
I looked at that game after the fact, and I said, what was Mark Martin thinking? That guy had 9 rebounds.
Or Mark Matthews.
I'm sorry, Mark Martin. I cannot believe I just did that.
What's the difference? Really, what's the difference?
There's a huge difference. Come on now. Anybody who knows me knows that I butcher names. I'm terrible, and I'm sorry, Mark. I will apologize to you till the day I go to my grave for calling you Mark Matthews. Okay? But anyway. I was thinking, show the big guys some love. 9 rebounds against GP. That was huge. What do you got to do? So I got you. Right. I do want to know this. You guys are your first cousins, obviously. Everybody knows that. Kyle and Derek's sons, and those guys played a little bit of basketball back in the day. So you guys go to your grandma's house on Sunday. You go to Sharon Kay's house for Sunday lunch. I know there's basketball being played. So what I want to know, y'all have always played together in organized basketball, but when you get out there and you're playing out in the backyard, does it get competitive at all?
It ain't fun if it ain't competitive.
Right.
Yeah. So how competitive does it get, Gavin?
We don't play much anymore, but when we were younger, me and Mace went at it.
All right. They got to protect the bodies now.
That's right. Let's not be doing that.
There was a lot of pushing and shoving. It was fun.
All right. So how about the dads? Do they still go at it?
No.
They're too old, aren't they?
Yeah, they hung it up a little bit a while ago.
All right. Gavin Keaton, Mason Keaton. Good luck tomorrow night in Pigeon Forge and next week as well as this district play really heats up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a couple of Oneida Lady Indian seniors right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael A. Technology Center in Hellenwood. I'm Ben Garrett, along with Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. Real quickly, before we introduce our next guest, let me thank our sponsors who help bring us the Roundtable, and those include First National Bank, Twin K Construction, Baby J's Pizza, Razak's Mark's Family Pharmacy, El Rey South Fork Physical Therapy, Tommy's Motorsports, and Mountain People's Health Councils. And we're joined now by Lady Indian seniors Rayleigh Bush and Grace Shoemaker. And guys, I want to start off, but we talked about this, Tim and I did in the opening, and coaches and players, you guys are looking at huddle when you're getting ready for future opponents and you're scouting them out. But casual fans like us, they usually are doing one. They're looking at Coach T and they're looking at scores. And I sense that a lot of people are looking at Oneida and they're looking at those Gatlinburg games. They're saying, well, whatever. But guess what? You guys have now got the toughest team in the district out of the way. That's done, finished with. Still a ton of district games left. And I think you guys are poised now to make some noise starting tomorrow with Pigeon Forge. And I want to ask you first, Rayleigh, and then I want to get your take on it, Grace, before Tim asks you guys his question. Tomorrow night against Pigeon Forge, what kind of an opportunity is that to get this thing headed in the direction I know you want it to be going in?
Well, they're a good team, but we, sorry.
It's okay. Putting a microphone on does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're done with GP, the best team. So, Grace.
You think about it.
Yeah.
We'll come back. How about it, Grace?
I would say tomorrow, if we go out there, we play, and we win and stuff, I feel like it'd make us a good look. I don't know. Yeah. With Gatlinburg-Pittman, we've lost both games, and I feel like this win in the district will really boost our team's confidence and help us move forward with.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I think what we talked about earlier, I said I think this Oneida team is kind of lulling some people to sleep right now. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I think I've expressed what I think about Gatlinburg-Pittman, and I'm kind of like Rayleigh. It's hard to put into words. I mean, that's one of the best teams I've seen, and they've been without one of their best players each time we played them. So, we just got to put that away. You don't have to go through them. You might have to play them, but you don't have to go through them at any point. And there's other teams on the schedule that are going to be probably close to as tough, and Alcoa is one of those. But Coach West talked about it in the postgame the other night, and Rayleigh, he said that Austin East, which he thought you all were going to Tuesday, but you wound up not, but he said that was a must-win game. I think Coach West, no doubt, feels like you guys are, at worst, that you should be the third best team behind Gatlinburg and Alcoa and probably compete with Alcoa. Do you think he feels that way?
Yeah. Austin East, they're very beatable. Mm-hmm. But we haven't shown our full potential yet, and I know we can make a run in district.
When I talked to him, I talked about how you guys had taken steps forward, and you have to in this district. You're going to have to be better. And I actually, when I was asking the question about being tougher with the basketball, I was picturing a moment in the game that you were involved in, Grace, because Gatlinburg was coming after the basketball, and you were on the near sideline right in front of the Oneida bench, and it looked like they were going to get it, but you made a strong move. You possessed the basketball, and you got it cleared, and it just looked like growth to me for the Lady Indians and for you personally as well. And do you feel like there's still a long way to go with that before the season is over, that there's a lot of room for improvement still?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I feel like we all have to be more aggressive because against Gatlinburg-Pittman, we let them get up a lot of second chance shots, and I think being more aggressive and getting the ball and getting second chance shots for ourselves will really help us improve.
But, I mean, even though the scores were almost similar, the games weren't. You guys were out of that Gatlinburg game real early up there, but you were a factor in this one for 2.5 quarters at least, right, at home. So if you can just make those incremental improvements between now and the next time if you do face them, that's possible. Alcoa, do you have any idea? Have you watched any Alcoa yet? So you don't know? Okay, so you've observed Austin East, you've got Eagleton, Gatlinburg-Pittman is done, so that leaves us with Alcoa coming up and as we mentioned, the Austin East and Pigeon Forge tomorrow night. Pigeon Forge, Coach West called them deceptively good because their record doesn't look good, but he says they're a pretty good team. They played a tough schedule. What have you seen in Pigeon Forge?
their point guard is really good. She's really shifty with it. They have a big post, but I think if we come in ready, it'll be good for us.
So what about their point guard is going to give you trouble as the opposing point guard? Are you going to be guarding her?
Yeah.
Yep. So what's going to be the toughest part of stopping her game?
Just when she gets the ball closing out, stopping her.
Yep. What about the post player? What do you think makes her tough to deal with?
She's left-handed, so we're not seeing many of those.
Yep.
So.
Okay, Grace. Something that I saw you do quite a bit late last year, and I haven't seen as much. We've seen it a couple of times this year, but is you taking an aggressive drive down the lane. We saw Rachel Elmore last year before she graduated. It's kind of like she got comfortable doing that. She was kind of like, well, I kind of like this, and she started doing it more. Is that something you're going to roll out a little bit more? Because I think it's a very effective thing that you do.
Yeah. I haven't really been, that aggressive this year, but I plan on being more aggressive and driving the ball and getting my other teammates open for shot opportunities and stuff like that.
So, and I asked the boys this same question. I'm going to ask you both, and I'm going to let Rayleigh go first. But as far as coaching goes, this is your 4th year with Coach West, so you may have thought you knew Coach West pretty well. But is he, he can be tough at sometimes. I've known him for a long time. Has he been tougher, or has he been a little bit more relaxed? And, what's been his approach because the competition level has amped up? What difference have you seen in Coach West from years prior?
He's a lot tougher.
Really?
Sure, yeah.
Didn't even get nicer. Unbelievable. What about the coaching staff as a whole? Coach Markham and Coach Pike joining in this year. What are they doing? Something that you feel like has really helped the team improve a lot as a group?
Coach Pike has really helped us. He helps us on defense, getting after us, getting us going. And he's helped me with my shot a lot.
Is he the one that brought up this left-handed post player?
No.
Yeah, no, was that Coach Markham?
That was me.
That was you?
Yep.
You going to coach one day, Rayleigh?
No.
What? No way?
No.
You're just writing it off right now? What? I feel like coaches, Coach West included, Coach Pike, and Coach Markham, I feel like sometimes these coaches, they see things and I think, how do they see that? Now that they bring it out, it makes perfect sense. Your dad's a coach, so I'm going to ask you: are you ever amazed at the things that they bring out, and you think, "Oh, I should have seen that," but it took the coach to show it?
Yeah, they're always looking everywhere, and they always see the little things, and they really help us out with that. And
like keep her from going left, keep her from going right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Rayleigh. Any chance Grace Shoemaker steps into the coaching arena one day? Is that something you'd be interested in at all?
No.
So when we replay this tape, you all are both going to be embarrassed in about 6 years down the road because, the way you sit and think about basketball, I think you're going to miss it. I think you'll be back around.
I don't know.
Well, there you go. She's already gone from no to I don't know. So that's a step forward. All right. So what do you think, Rayleigh, if you could say one thing that has to be the number one thing we improve between now and the tournament as the Oneida Lady Indians, what's the one thing that has to happen better for you guys to get what you want?
I think just effort. We just got to give more effort.
Okay. What do you think, Grace?
I would also agree with effort, but also rebounding. We've been struggling with rebounding the past few games, and I feel like if we improve on that, we'd do a lot better.
So as seniors, do you feel pressure to be leaders? Do you feel like they're watching me, I have to be a leader, or is it something you enjoy or that you're not really thinking about, Rayleigh?
I just lead by example.
So you're doing it, but you're saying watch how I go. What about you, Grace? Do you say anything, or do you just?
I say stuff. Me and Leah are usually the ones that will say stuff to the team, and Rayleigh leads by example. So yeah.
Okay, so who was the person that was the leader you remember when you were young, and it really helped you out when you came in as Lady Indian?
Gracie Martin.
Gracie Martin.
Yep,
What about
I
you?
would agree.
Yep.
Gracie Martin.
Gracie, big impact.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ben, you got any other questions for these young ladies?
I do have one question. So you guys have played together a long time. You've been together since sixth grade, so 7 years, and really before that in travel ball. But I want you, first of all, you are probably, I don't know, is it safe to say, I think you're the best defender in your district. I do. I think you're the best defender in your district. And I don't want to put you way up high on a pedestal, but you do a really good job. I don't recall you being that good of a defender in middle school. And we started to see it your freshman year. We really saw it your sophomore year. And now, as a senior, you're getting 7, 8 steals a game sometimes, which is really hard to do in a game of basketball. Talk about your progression as a defensive player over the years.
Well, freshman year, Coach West showed me I had potential to be a good defender, so I just kept working on it. I've gotten better over the years.
And Grace, first of all, how about Rayleigh? At what point did you say, hey, she's a really good defender. She can guard the other team's best ball handler night after night after night. Did you say it in middle school, or was that more in high school?
It was definitely more in high school, definitely freshman year. She really stepped it up on defense.
And the second question is, you're getting a lot of steals some nights as well. You're starting to get the 5, 6 steals a game. I've seen a couple of games. So I don't know. Defensively, do you model your game after your teammates' game, or is that even fair? Is it just your own game?
Well, yeah, them getting a stop on the ball and me getting in my spot and place and then being able to see things, it really helped a lot.
All right. So
can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I should have done this when the boys were up here. Entirely different district, and the teams that you're playing now, you're going into these gyms, balcony levels and stuff, a lot bigger gyms than you played over the last several years of your first 3 years of your career. Has that had any effect on you? Is it taking some getting used to go into those larger facilities?
I feel like going into the larger facilities, sometimes it, kind of scares us because, we've never been in a gym like that big before with that big of like an atmosphere. But we just got to learn to shake it off and just go out there and play our game.
Really?
It doesn't really affect me.
Good deal.
All right, Rayleigh Bush, Grace Shoemaker. Tomorrow night, Pigeon Forge. Good luck. I'm calling it now, Tim Smith. I think the Oneida Lady Indians are going to impress tomorrow night over in Pigeon Forge. But good luck tomorrow night. Good luck next week as well. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll finish things up with Scott High right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael A. Technology Center in Helenwood. So we've worked our way through Scott High's girls. We've worked our way through both Oneida teams, and now we're to Scott High boys, coming off the big win at Clinton. And we're joined by Toby Garrett and Sky Babb, 2 of the 3 seniors on this year's team, Tim.
I just want to tell you guys, and Rick and Harris, that not much can keep me awake past 8:30.
That's true.
But you guys on Tuesday night did. I really enjoyed it, and I also appreciate you all considering me and not sitting Sky next to me, because I'd have been really nervous, that something was going to go down. So Toby's here, and I know if I get out of hand, Toby's just going to walk me away. And so I thank you for that consideration for this.
I had talked with their SRO officer before the game, and I thought, hey, he said he'd send somebody up to protect us.
Yeah.
Ben's reputation coming in.
There you go. No, but seriously, guys, that was what a win. Congratulations on that. I loved watching it. Great. Good job.
All right, so I'm going to start with my kid, and I'm going to ask Toby a question. The last thing my wife said to me on the way out the door is, don't be a butthole to your kid. And I said, that's going to be tough. Okay, Toby.
Did she say please like that?
No, she didn't say please.
Okay,
it was more of a demand than a question.
Oh, okay.
I asked Gavin Keaton when he was here, because he's a guy that when you compare him to the scorers on his team, he doesn't score a whole lot, but he's out there, he starts, he's playing a key role. Toby, you've gone from scoring 14, 15, and 9 on any given night to you're not scoring as much now. So I ask you that for a reason. Would you say you're in a scoring slump, or would you say that you have embraced a different role on this team right now?
I'd say I've embraced a different role, because I feel like my field goal percentage hasn't got down. I just have been shooting less shots and been sitting out of the game a lot with foul trouble.
We were going to get to that a little bit later. But okay, so you really don't – I mean, honestly, you're my kid, but you don't care if you shoot the ball or not. Talk about that mentality. Most players don't have that mentality.
I don't really care how much I score as long as we win. Like Isaiah was scoring like 3 points a game, but he's brought on that role, scoring like 15 a night, and it's helping us win. Sure. So I'll be more than willing to give all my points to Isaiah every single night if we're going to win.
All right, and Sky, you're the leading scorer on this team, and you and both of you guys, but you've waited your turn. You didn't play any as a freshman, weren't even on varsity as a freshman. You didn't really play as a sophomore. Last year was the first year you really started to get that opportunity, and now this year it's your all's team. And you're the seniors, and this is your team. What has it been like to wait through that process, and now you've got the opportunity and you're embracing it?
Well, I mean, it's a little different because last year we weren't really leaders that much, but this year I feel like we got to step up and be leaders because we're like the only 2 seniors and we got a young team. So I just feel like me and Toby got to accept our role as leaders.
I said it during the game the other night. and I probably said it during a lot of our games that we're calling, it's the fact that you've got 3 seniors, 2 senior starters, and then boom, it drops down to freshmen or sophomores rather. There are no juniors on the team, so what can we look forward to? We've seen these sophomores. They played a real freshman schedule last year. They must have played 20 games last year or more as a freshman team. What can we expect out of these sophomores as they've got the first half of the season behind them right now, looking to the rest of this season and their future? Start with you, Sky.
Well, I think now that like most of them have played a little bit of varsity and they've got the feel of it a little bit, they understand that it's the big leagues now and it's not a JV game and that it's a whole lot different. And I feel like they're adapting to it and playing pretty good.
Toby?
I think that especially for the seasons after this one, I think that a couple of them are going to be 1,000-point scorers because, I mean, they're getting so much playing time now, and White and Isaiah got a little bit of playing time last year, and they're scoring so much. And Landon, he's scoring a lot this year, and he's going to score even more as the years go. So I think that they're going to score a lot. And as far as this year goes, that it's going to hurt a little bit with the youth, but at the same time, they're getting experience, and so I think that's going to help us. White with his scoring and rebounding, and Isaiah with his ball or playmaking and scoring, and Goody with his shooting.
We've seen, you've heard it said for years, there's always a great big leap in skills and what to do in a ball game from that first year to the second year. We've really seen it with the sophomore bunch this year. They have really improved quite a bit. Some of us doubted, can Isaiah be a point guard, much like Scott Jeffers was last year, but he's embraced the role. He's done a tremendous job protecting the basketball. I go back to the other night in the Clinton game. You weren't in the game at the time. You were still in the game at the time, Toby. And I won't say we fell to pieces, but we were making some rude and crude mistakes, giving the ball back to Clinton the other night. What did Coach Aiden? He called a real critical timeout. I thought, what did he say to the team during that stretch to try to settle things down a little bit?
He told us to just calm down and take our time with the press and not try to dribble through it because, I mean, whenever we was trying to dribble through it, we was turning it over. So just pass through it and hit the open guy.
Like I said, you were on the bench, but what did you think about the move by Coach Aiden to try to slow things down and try to get us from not rushing every possession we had?
I think it was the right play to do because we started to get sped up pretty fast, and of course we had turnovers, throwing the ball out and throwing it away, and slowing down, calming down a little bit. I felt like it was good for us.
As you've ranked the teams that you've played so far in the season, the record doesn't indicate that, but I think Clinton may be one of the better teams that we've played this year so far.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I know you'll look forward to the rematch with them.
Yep,
definitely.
What have you worked on leading up to tomorrow night's game with Union County? They're a team that, since the first of the year, they apparently have switched into fifth gear. They have put up a lot of points. How have you addressed that in practice the last 2 days?
Coach told us that we was going to have to score a lot, but not only score a lot, we was going to have to stop them on defense, which is going to be hard because they can shoot the three really good. I think they beat Hancock 83-58, and we only beat them by 15. So we're going to have to lock in on defense and also score the ball a lot tomorrow.
That 100-point performance they had on Tuesday night, does that change your mentality any at all, Sky?
Well, I mean, a little bit. Like, I knew a lot of people look at Union County as not that good of a team in their district, but they've came close with Clinton, and I don't know for sure who else they played, but they're still a good team, and we need to take them seriously. And it just showed that when they dropped a bunch of points in a couple of games.
Over the past years, comparing to this year, I don't know that we've gone through 8 consecutive district games in a stretch. When you guys look at the schedule, start with you, Sky. When you look at that schedule and see those 8 games, Tuesday, Friday, for 4 weeks right there, what do you think looking at this gauntlet of teams that you got to go through?
Well, first of all, like, no matter a night, if we win or lose, we got to put that game behind us and focus on the next one because they're all district games. They all matter, win or lose. And you just got to focus on each one, focus in.
Focus in. What do you get out of this stretch, Toby?
I think that it's going to help us get better for tournament time. I think it's good that we're playing all of our district games so close together and not having really any games in between them because we had those 2 games right before, and those were not relatively easy. I mean, Apostolic was, but Ambassadors actually gave us a run for our money. But I think with all these district games now, it's helping us get better, and then as soon as these district games over, pretty much we're in a tournament, and I think it's going to help us.
We ask the girls. We don't get the opportunity often, but as seniors, you get to play the district tournament on your home court. Talk about that, Sky. I know we've always gone on the road. We've always had to be someplace else. But what's it going to be like being at home, knowing that you're just 15 minutes from home after a ball game each night?
I mean, it's going to be really nice to say the least. We're going to have our rims. It's home court advantage. And I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot of players that haven't experienced having a district tournament hosted at their home court. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be nice. It's our senior year, so last chance.
Last chance, exactly right. Man, any comments on senior year playing the district tournament home?
No, I'm glad we finally got. Glad we finally got the chance to play a district tournament at home, and I think it's going to help us with home court advantage with all the students being there. Because I mean, last year at Clinton, you've seen how loud they was, and I think it's going to help.
It certainly is. It does. Your own court gives you a distinct home court flavor, I think.
Guys, I got a question. Tim may have a question first. You got a question?
Oh, I was just making the comment. I mean, I've enjoyed watching you guys. I will say another thing about that game Tuesday night. You know, when you talked about that little stretch where it got kind of iffy, it didn't happen immediately after that ejection. There was
It got into the fourth quarter. Yeah.
What struck me is, you know, in a lot of situations I've seen teams after that it immediately falls apart and you never pull it back together. In the immediate aftermath of that, the team was able to maintain a good level with Clinton. Then you had the challenge from Clinton, and then you answered. I learned a lot about your team from that little stretch. Losing your leading scorer on the road in the toughest place to play the toughest team you guys have just said in your district to play. And it didn't immediately cause you a problem, but when they did, you found a way on the road to answer that. So I think you learned a lot about yourselves because I think we learned a lot about this team. And that's a huge factor going forward, knowing that you have that capability. It's going to be an exciting finish to the season for you guys.
All right, guys, several people have said, and not just me, I think I've said it. I don't know if Rick said it. Several people have said, this might be the best shooting team, top to bottom, I mean, the best shooting team Scott High's ever had.
We've just mutually agreed to that, yeah.
And that's saying something. Scott High's had some really great shooting teams over the years, and you think about guys like Stephen Butts and Logan Goodman, and I mean, just a lot of, I mean, you don't even have to start naming them. You know, the Keatons, you know, the Keaton boys were just here, their fathers back in the day. Last 2 games, you guys 26 combined three-pointers in those 2 games and 56% shooting percentage from three-point range. So, obviously, you're not going to shoot the ball at that level every single night. But how do you keep that rolling?
Well, I mean, we just got to keep shooting the basketball. It's really nice that it's not just one person that's scoring all the threes. It's a collective group. Everyone's shooting the ball, shooting it with confidence. We got a bunch of sophomores stepping up and shooting the ball with confidence and making big threes in big moments.
So the second thing I've got is now we saw Melanie Spradlin and Zoe Price here earlier, and they've got Connor Hudson and Carly Branscombe here with them. They're still here, by the way. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here. I'm just saying, Ayla Sims was here when Rayleigh and Grace were here a minute ago. You guys, I don't know if Greg can show this or not, but you guys have got basically your whole team here tonight. Coach Yaden, after the loss to Carter in the Christmas tournament, he said, we're playing like we don't really like each other. And I agreed with him on that particular night. Y'all were playing like you didn't really like each other. On the whole, though, y'all very much do like each other. Talk about the team chemistry, because to me, the team chemistry you all have got as a group exceeds anything I've ever seen before.
I think that our chemistry is an important part to how we play because we're not afraid to share the ball, and it's not just one person scoring. We're all passing it around, and it's not just with basketball at practice and games. It's off the floor like this right here. Everyone's just hanging out, and we go eat together all the time, and during the summer we was doing stuff every other week. We went camping. and just different stuff like that just helps us grow closer as a team, and it makes us better.
How about it, Sky?
I think you pretty much about said it all. It's pretty good.
I got one more question. What, going forward the rest of the season, 9 more games left, looking at that, what's the 1 and 2 things that as a team we need to do better? Start with you, Scott.
I'd definitely say for sure one is defense. I mean, it was good against Clinton because we were talking and communicating, and we just got to do that every game. But I feel like we slack off of that sometimes, and that's what really hurts us most of the time.
I agree with the defense part, and I also think we need to get better at rebounding, just boxing out and getting in there and getting rebounds.
Neither one of you got what I was going for.
What were you going for?
Free throws.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is my last question. Coach Yaden said, I think he actually said it in his post-game interview, maybe he was talking to me after, he said that it feels like Toby's been on the bench more than he's been on the floor the last few games, and that's true. Scott Babb, I want to ask you something. Coach Yaden has asked everybody. He asked Rachel Garrett in the hallway. So he's resorted to asking the sister, what can I do to keep this boy out of foul trouble? It literally is every single game, and listen, as a father, it's frustrated the heck out of me. What do we got to do to keep him out of foul trouble? And don't you dare blame it on the referees either.
I really wish I had an answer, but I really don't.
I've got an answer, but I'll tell you afterwards.
I mean, I just feel
you
like
don't
Toby
like it.
Plays aggressive. I don't really know.
All right. Oh, I got one more question. The game's on the line. Isaiah Washam, Landon Washam. Who's going to take the shot? Who you trusting the most?
Landon Washam. Spanks him every day in practice.
Hold up. Is it a 3 or a jumper?
I don't care. Anywhere.
Think about the way that Landon destroys Isaiah during practice every day. 1v1.
That's a really good point.
Every single
he gets
day.
boards all the time over him.
There goes the chemistry.
I think I'm going to go with Landon. I'm going to be honest.
We ruined it.
Sorry, Isaiah.
Hey, the way Isaiah has been playing offense the last 2 weeks, though, Isaiah, don't you worry about it. You just keep playing your game.
Yeah, Isaiah, I want to say this to you. That's not the first time I've heard that Landon destroys Isaiah every day in practice. I've heard that a bunch, guys.
I was trying to smooth it over.
Well, I want him to be like this together, but
Scott
Landon destroyed a few Dragons on Tuesday night.
He did.
I mean, that was an
He did.
impressive performance. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, Scott Babb, Toby Garrett, tomorrow night, big game. Big game. We've talked about the student section. Before you guys go, real quick, last Friday night, now let's be honest, okay? I don't know if you want to throw your schoolmates under the bus or not, but last Friday night, that student section would not fill up the front row. What's your message tomorrow night? Because this is a huge game. Your message to the students. We've got brand new bleachers to fill up.
Please show up because it's a district game.
Yeah. Last week it wasn't a district game. This week it is, so be there.
I mean, we showed up for football. So
it's about time they take care of you. Right?
All right, Scott Babb, Toby Garrett, good luck tomorrow night. Good luck next week. Good luck for the rest of the season. We're going to take one more break and come back, and we'll close things out on the round table. Our final segment of the round table tonight, I'm Ben Garrett along with Rick Keaton and Tim Smith. And real quickly, guys, probably won't get to do this next Thursday night because the Oneida Austin East game has been scheduled for next Thursday night. So we'll be having basketball in the air next Thursday night. But who knows, maybe another night next week. If not, we'll be back 2 weeks from tonight with the next edition of the round table. Let me thank our sponsors real quickly. First National Bank, Twin K Construction, Baby J's Pizza, Ray's X, Mark's Family Pharmacy, El Rey, South Fork Physical Therapy, Tommy's Motorsports, and Mountain People's Health Council. Those are the folks, Tim, that bring us the round table every night. But hang on.
No, you're good.
Tuesday night, Rick, Harris Keaton said, since Tim was watching, and I don't know if these boys sitting up here understood what a big deal it was that you stayed up past your bedtime to watch that game. That was pretty big.
They will 50 years.
Yeah, when they get 50 years old, they'll understand that. Yeah.
Harris wanted cookies. And then we decided real quick that we wanted Vanessa to make us cookies because, Vanessa made us cookies. Tim showed up with cookies, and I couldn't believe it. And I tried them, and I got one when they were still warm and fresh. And I don't know if you've tried them yet. Harris is going to get to try them too. Before you get out of here, try cookies. We want to say thank you to Mrs. Smith. She's so much nicer than her husband is. Just, she's never insulted me live on TV.
I can really agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim.
Something I want to mention that I feel like some people have found out about, but that we really haven't pushed or advertised. And some years back, ESPN started this ESPN Classic, and they showed old games. And I was really frustrated because probably 10 years before that, I'd talked with Mark Matthews and said, you know what would be a neat idea is if they took old games and showed them. I'd watch that, wouldn't you? Yeah. And so they got to that. that's what is being done right now, and I think a lot of people aren't aware of this. We've gotten a lot of donations from some fine folks. Pam Henry donated a big collection of tapes. We got a big collection of collection from Matt Boyd, I believe, Sylvia Billingsley, Sharon Keaton. They still have much more to offer. We're still getting these old copies of tapes. Some of them have announcing on it. You know, some of them are the old OCV Channel 4 stuff. Some of them are just tapes of the games, but they offer a very unique thing. And Greg's going to pull up first here. I want you to see something. This is going to be 8. I believe what we have is 1988. And what you're going to see is a chance to go back in time. Now, we're just going to show a clip from this here in just a minute. But I want to tell you that what you're going to see in this clip is Coach Dallas Davis, who's still coaching. He's the Harriman Lady Blue Devils coach. They've named the court after him in Wartburg, and he was the Wartburg girls coach for most of the years that I did games. But at this point, he was the boys coach of the Wartburg Bulldogs, and it's back in the late 80s. And this it's www.SFN.tv. And right now, it is a subscription-based service. So you would subscribe and you would have access on demand to any of the videos that have been uploaded throughout this time. And again, some fine folks have donated. And here we're going to see from this, as Greg navigates through it here on the screen, you're going to see the Scott High first. This was a tape that was really, you see Highlander basketball. It's laid out just really intuitive to get to. And from 88, you can watch this video. Right there, you're seeing Highlander Gym. And in this game, I've watched it. I guess, is that Kyle Keaton at the point? In this game, Rusty Yaden throws one down on Highlander Gym Court. He dunks one against this Wartburg team, and you can watch Coach Dallas Davis go crazy about how things are going. Now, this is one that doesn't have the announcing. It's just game tape. You know, maybe we can do some things in the future and watch some of these with some of the guys that played in it. That's kind of the vision I have on it. But right now, you can access it before we do all that. And then here's another one that I want to go to. And Oneida fans may scratch your head and say, what's he doing bringing that one up? But to me, this one's got a really neat connection as well. You see Indian football, and you go back to the year of 2000. And in 2000, Oneida played the Sunbright Tigers at the end of the year. Sunbright was trying to cap off an undefeated season. Coach Keith Shannon was at the helm of the Sunbright Tigers, and you see the video of that here. It was a rainy night, and both teams were decked out in their colorful uniforms. I believe Sunbright's in gold on gold. Oneida's got the orange jerseys on. And on a sloppy night, you see an absolute classic game where Oneida's trying to keep Sunbright from finishing undefeated, and Coach Keith Shannon's team is working to stay undefeated and win the district. This is another one that would be fun to get together with Coach Jimmy May and Coach Keith Shannon and sit and walk through this absolute classic of a game between these two teams. So you've got all the games. You've got wins, you've got losses, you've got a lot of years to choose from. They've already been compiled, and I want to put out a call here to say this. Right now it's a subscription-based service because it costs to have server space for these things, to get hosting out there for them, and we're making access for the folks that have donated these tapes. We're making DVDs that they can keep, and that's going to do a lot better than these tapes that are degrading. So that's something we're doing. If you've got tapes to offer to the collection, we'll make you a keeper DVD on that. But another thing I'd like to see is maybe we'll have some sponsors down the road that step in and make this a free service. Yes. And it wouldn't be an expensive thing. I would think, just going off I'm not going to put people on the spot, but I mean, it would be, if you got 12 sponsors at maybe $500 a year to have your logo and your scorebug put in there on these things, that's something we can do. And just by not even having the word out, we've had about a few people subscribe to this. They've found it. happened into it, but I think it could be big, and it's going to keep getting bigger. And also, I'll put out the call to say, if you've got some tapes from some years, we'd love to have those to add to the collection. And again, the goal is to try to get sponsors to make this widely available to see the history. That being said, I'm going to transition to one more thing I want to mention. One thing that would be really nice is to get some tapes of the Oneida Lady Indians from 86 through 89. And I know somebody has some of those out there. And this past week, we lost what Stan Pennington referred to as one of the Indians of Mount Rushmore in Kerry Boyd. That was his words. And he and Brene Laxton have offered tributes on Facebook. I've put some words up on Facebook. But words aren't really adequate to express what Kerry Boyd meant to Oneida sports. For myself, she was a classmate. Kerry was 1 year younger than me, so many of her games I watched from the stage at the old gym while I was playing in the pep band. Really, I didn't appreciate her athleticism and her abilities at that point in my life as much as I think many people were able to. And there were people that paved the way for Kerry, like Vicky Kazee, Sandy West, Sandy Martin, that progressively built that Oneida program through time. Kerry took it to another level, not single-handedly, but almost single-handedly in what she did. She was on the first set of Oneida teams that went to the state tournament all 4 years. When she was a freshman, it was only the second time Oneida had been to the state. They went every year that she played. In her senior year, Oneida won their first state tournament game. And then 5 years later, the Lady Indians are able to win a state championship. So huge loss in Kerry Boyd. And it is sad to lose her. But it also, if you read what I wrote on Facebook, Kerry was an inspiration in that she never quit. She never let a hardship, whether it be health or sports or personal related, she didn't let that define her, and she didn't let that stop her, and she controlled her story. And she did get down and discouraged. I saw her there, but she never stayed there. And that was inspirational to me to see her do that, because she had a whole lot of hardships that some of us never dreamed of in our lives. And you can read about all that. If you just Google Kerry, you'll read about that. But a true warrior and a great example of a lady Indian. And just want to share a thought and prayers for her family. And just thankful that I was able to be around her and to have influence from Kerry. And a whole lot of people are better for it. So.
Indeed.
Yeah, and certainly our prayers are with MC Boyd, her father, and the entire Boyd family. So we're going to wrap up this edition of the Roundtable. Before we do, guys, real quickly, I've gotten several. My phone's just been blowing up with text messages here in the last few minutes. And Toby Garrett says, transfer me some money for Taco Bell, please. And, that's my life. I mean, that's every night. Harris Keaton says, give Tim a big thank you.
I didn't do anything.
But he's really thanking Vanessa. He's tasting those cookies that he's going to get. And also, people are wanting to know, Rick, is Sky Babb going to play tomorrow? And when we intentionally did not talk about that, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to ask you to give me a couple of minutes tomorrow night to say a couple of things. So we'll talk about it more during the broadcast tomorrow night. But just real quickly, yes, Sky Babb is going to be able to play tomorrow night against Union.
You told me I couldn't say that.
Well, I asked.
But thank you for filling the audience in.
So yes, Sky Babb will be able to play tomorrow night for those who are wondering. So
he should.
Absolutely.
And Ben will explain tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Circumstances. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
All right. So thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you to the student athletes who joined us tonight. Thank you to Greg Bond, who's the guy that makes everything happen behind the scenes. Leetta Boyd is the bouncer always that controls the crowd here. And also Trophy Masters. All the set decorations that you see here are the result of the hard work that Tony and Jenny put in at Trophy Masters. If you need gear to support any of our local teams, high school, middle school, whatever, get up to Trophy Masters. They've got everything you need. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. We'll see you first tomorrow night for more high school basketball. Good night.